As his career grew, so grew the better education and a better car and a bigger house with more rooms. But my father would always take us back to Trenchtown.
Sometimes Bob would go down the ghetto and, pass through and thing like that. Would never lock his car out. God, that's like saying you don't trust people.
Do you make a lot of money out of your music?
Money. I mean, how much is a lot of money to you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Have you made, say, millions of dollars?
No.
Are you a rich man?
When you mean rich, what you mean?
You have a lot of possessions, a lot of money in the bank.
Position make you rich? I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life, forever.
Hope Road was always swarming with people, and for the same reason, looking for an opportunity, looking for some money, looking for a handout, need a job, my children's school fees, on and on and on.
You have lines every day at Hope Road. People from all walks, they bring the baby, they bring the kids, and you have long lines, and you just hand out. And it doesn't just give like pittance, it give you enough. You can start something,
A couple of years ago, no one would have believed that this raggle-taggle tribe of Jamaican musicians would be packing Toronto's Maple Leaf Gardens. It's a sign of reggae's growing acceptance in the international pop music scene. And it's also catapulted this man, Bob Marley, to superstardom.
They ask him, how big you think this music will get? And Bob says, this music will get bigger and bigger and bigger till it reaches right people. Which, to me, is the whole world.
From 200 seaters to 1,000, and then I saw 80,000. I saw 100,000.
Yes, I said so. Hear what you want.
We tore up Europe. We played to like maybe 2 million people in 6 weeks. We broke everybody's record over there. Rolling Stones and...
in Tokyo, 4,000 people. Everybody's total Japanese, singing every song word for word.
Most of them could not even understand. They spoke a different language, but they felt the music and they knew what he was saying.
Lively up yourself in the morning time.
The media lied and said that Bob smoked a pound a day. And so everywhere we went, the police was on our heels, and they would search our belongings with a fine-tooth comb.
I got the lively up myself.
You would see police with dogs on the bus searching, but every time they searched, they never found anything. So they didn't bother with us again.
Towards the latter years, they're more like, having posters, and records. So we basically just came up with a passport, a whole bunch of records and posters, and they didn't even look, they just stopped.
One of his main concern was that he wasn't reaching the black people. You know, he's noticed all the shows were all white, every show. So that kind of was puzzling to him.
I was in Nigeria and came back and told him about the response of the people to him in Nigeria who had never seen him, but just the music. And he couldn't believe it. I said, yes, I'm serious. I said, Africa is really waiting for you there. Why is it? As a matter of fact, if you go to Africa, you really might not come back.
It was the policy of keeping Africans in their place, which by 1965 made Rhodesia illegal in the eyes of the world.
I don't believe in black majority rule ever in Rhodesia. Not in 1,000 years.
Bob wrote a song called Zimbabwe. Like to mash it in a Zimbabwe. I and I liberate Zimbabwe. And when the song got to Zimbabwe, the freedom fighters embraced that as their anthem.
They got their independence. Finally, they got their independence. And they sent representatives here to Jamaica to ask Bob to perform.
They wanted to come, and when they saw the cost, they said they couldn't afford it.
And so Bob Marley used his own money and shipped equipment, I think from London, to Zimbabwe. You had dignitaries from all over the world.
Swear that I will well and truly serve Zimbabwe in the office of Minister of the Government. So help me God.
Midnight, the exact moment of independence. As Prince Charles, Governor Soames, and hundreds of visiting heads of government and VIPs from around the world watched, the new flag was raised, Robert Mugabe's government assumed power, and Zimbabwe was born.
It was the first time anybody in Zimbabwe had heard anything like this. When the first song started, the 90,000 people outside who couldn't get in decided to come in.
Many people will fight you down when you see your light. Let me tell you, if you're not...
It was the freedom fighters heard Bob Marley inside the stadium, and they are locked out, not being able to go in, and they just flattened the fence. So being there on stage, I remember I was the first person to smell something unusual. It was tear gas.
There was this strange sensation that was burning our throats, and it felt as if we were going to die. We didn't know what it was, and we felt that we would leave Jamaica and come all the way to Zimbabwe to leave our kids and just die. So Britta, Marcia, and I, we ran off the stage, and the musicians were coming off one by one. But Bob was still in his element, and I guess he didn't even realize what was happening.
That just opened my eyes to know that this man was ready to go down with his people. Whatever the reason was, Bob didn't run nowhere.
So when we got back on stage with Bob, this is what Bob said to us. Now I know who are the true revolutionaries.
One of his highlights of a tree for him. He was at home.